if I'm going to make this work, I need to set a deadline. I need to have firm goals. I need to be working towards something. So I'm setting myself kind of an ambitious deadline. Hello. You're listening to another episode of LauraKBuzz Will Be on My Brother and Me, a production of Stupid Ideas That Really Shouldn't Work, LLC. I'm your host Laura, and it's been about a week since I've recorded one of these episodes. On the first episode of this podcast, I focused on things that I already had that linked me to the McElroys, and on the second episode we focused on things that I could learn to make myself a more valuable expert to come on the show. But this week, I wanted to do something different with the episode. Recently, I went back and re-listened to The McElroys Will Be in Trolls 2. I wanted to try and analyse what had made their attempt to get into this movie so successful. Since this podcast last had an episode, a new trailer for Trolls 2 dropped that appears to contain footage of one of the McElroys characters in that movie. They've made it into the film. It's confirmed. It's so hard for them to be pulled out now. It's success. They have succeeded, and I need to learn what lessons I can from their success.
So, what aspects of that McElroy podcast success are you going to try and ape for your podcast this week?
Well, I think that there's one thing in particular that I really need to start working on, and that is urgency.
Yeah? How do you reckon?
Well, the McElroy Brothers Will Be in Trolls 2 was a podcast with a firm deadline for success. There was a date that you would be able to tell, did it succeed or did it fail? Right from day one, Trolls 2 was a specific movie that had a release window and was going to have a release date and would come out at some point. At some point, the script for that film would be finished, recording would be finished, animation would have to start, animation would be finished, the premiere would happen, the film would be out in cinemas. There is a deadline by which they had to be successful, and that, I think, lit somewhat of a fire under their ass, and also allowed the people who might have been involved in that movie, who may have caught wind of the project, to not just put off inviting them, but to go, oh, if we're going to pay attention to this, we need to do it right now.
So, what's your deadline for success on LauraKBuzz Will Be on My Brother and Me, then?
In terms of windows for success, I had a lot of thinking to do. Part of me initially wanted to suggest 2019. The amount of time was long enough that I would have wiggle room, that I would have some time to make this work, but not so short that I would be stressed beyond all belief, but it just seemed too easy. A 2019 deadline makes sense if I'm not confident in getting onto My Brother and Me, but if I'm confident that this is going to happen, it's not a question of if, it's a question of when, then I should really be setting those deadlines for when is best for me. So I've been thinking about it, and I know this is kind of on the ambitious side, but I'm gonna be on my... Let's change the statement. It's no longer just LauraKBuzz Will Be on My Brother and Me. The statement isn't even just LauraKBuzz Will Be on My Brother and Me in 2019. LauraKBuzz will be on My Brother and Me before her first book releases.
Oh, that's not long, is it?
No, that is not long at all. The book in question, Uncomfortable Labels, is a book about being a trans person on the autism spectrum and the ways that those two things interact and overlap with each other. The book has a firm release date. It's releasing on July 18th, 2019. As of the time of this episode's release, that is fewer than 3 weeks away.
Are you, confident that you can get on the podcast in, that amount of time?
Well, yes, because I've confidently said it. LauraKBuzz will be on My Brother and Me before her first book releases.
And, why that date? It does seem, short notice.
Well, if I'm gonna get on My Brother and Me, that's gonna be a big audience of people who are gonna hear me, and assuming that I don't screw it up terribly, it's a great chance for self-promotion and for me to point people at projects I'm doing. Having my first ever published book come out is a pretty big deal and a thing that I want to go well, so if I can get myself onto My Brother and Me, or, sorry, when I get myself onto My Brother and Me, I might as well do it just before my first book comes out, give that book a bit of a nudge, hopefully get some extra sales, be a big successful author. Leech off of their podcasting success to be a successful author. Doesn't that seem like a productive use of my time?
Well, yeah, but do you have any plan how you're gonna go from, wanting to be on their podcast in the next 3 weeks to making it happen?
Well, I do have some ideas. Well, one big idea in particular. Next week, I'm going to have a member of the McElroy family guesting on LauraKBuzz Will Be on My Brother and Me.
Oh, what? Did you get one of the McElroy brothers to be on your podcast?
No, not quite that. But not far off. I have arranged for a legitimate member of the McElroy family who takes part in the McElroy family of podcasts to be on LauraKBuzz Will Be on My Brother and Me next week. Next week's episode, I'm going to be asking someone in the McElroy family related to the McElroy brothers for advice for getting onto the podcast. And my thinking is, that's a close enough connection, and you're going to hear it next week, it's a close enough connection, and they should be able to give me enough insider advice that I reckon episode 4 of this podcast will be the one that makes this happen. I think episode 4 will be an interview with a McElroy, and episode 5 will be me telling you when I'm going to be on My Brother and Me. While at the time of recording, a lot of what I said was overt confidence, trying to convince myself as much as anyone else that this plan was going to work. We all know in hindsight, it did. There was no need to force the confidence because it should have been there all along. LauraKBuzz will be on My Brother and Me before her first book releases. While much of this week had been spent focusing on how best to force myself into a deadline and make myself get onto My Brother and Me on my own terms, something else very important happened that feels important to report on this podcast. Ever since the first episode of LauraKBuzz Will Be on My Brother and Me released, I have received, no joke, dozens of tweets from people suggesting, wouldn't it be funny if I made a podcast about getting onto LauraKBuzz Will Be on My Brother and Me? A sort of X person will be on LauraKBuzz Will Be on My Brother and Me. Every person who tweeted me that got the same response. It's not enough to tweet me. Make that podcast and confidently tell me that you will be on LauraKBuzz Will Be on My Brother and Me. Now, just in time for episode 3, someone has done that. If you check the episode description for this episode of LauraKBuzz Will Be on My Brother and Me, you will find a link to Alexis Sarah Will Be on LauraKBuzz Will Be on My Brother and Me, episode 750. The podcast details artist Alexis Sarah's attempt to get onto LauraKBuzz Will Be on My Brother and Me. Now, I'll leave the podcast for you to listen to for yourself, but I felt I needed to practice what I preach. If I truly believe that making a podcast confidently stating you will be on another person's podcast is enough to get you onto that podcast, I couldn't deny this opportunity for Alexis Sarah to be on LauraKBuzz Will Be on My Brother and Me. They were the first person to confidently state it, and as such, they are the one person to make it onto this show. So yeah, this is LauraKBuzz Will Be on My Brother and Me's first guest. Hello, introduce yourself to us, guest.
Hi, I'm Alexis Sarah, the host of the world-renowned and very popular podcast. Alexis Sarah will be on, LauraKBuzz will be on, my brother, and me.
Yeah, so I feel like it's important to address something off the bat right here. Your podcast, I suppose, has been more successful than mine right now, because you made a podcast about getting onto my podcast, and you got onto my podcast. I've not yet made it onto the podcast that I was trying to get onto. How does it feel to have done my idea better than me already?
It's hard. It's hard to say because I'm just so talented. I know that I succeed at everything automatically.
I know, Alexis Sarah will be on my, on LauraKBuzz will be on my brother, and me. The confidence speaks for itself.
Exactly. Hey, good luck. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to help you.
Okay, so what advice can you give me? Because considering you managed to get onto a podcast by making a podcast about how, confidently saying how you were going to get onto a podcast, what advice do you have for me? What have I been doing wrong so far?
Well, I think the main thing is you don't lie enough about your skills. You want to learn a bunch of skills when you can just lie and say you have tons of skills.
Okay, right. Oh, gosh. What skills can I lie and say I'm good at?
Things they don't know anything about.
Okay,
Or just things they know about, but just pretend that you know them better. I heard that works perfectly fine
yeah,
on people.
just when they say a thing, just confidently say no, it's not that, and just hope that they'll, assume that I know better.
Yeah, just like, that's actually a misnomer. It actually works like this.
Oh, that's actually a misnomer. That's a very good turn of phrase. Ooh, I'm gonna have to make use of that. Okay, right, let's make up some things that I'm an expert in. I am now an expert in maritime law.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Good job. Congratulations.
Yeah, did you know that it's illegal for lobsters to hold hands with seals because it hurts their little paws, so they made a law about it. You can arrest a lobster for that.
I have 7 sources that confirm what you're saying, so you must be an expert.
Thank you. I'm also an expert in Christmas cracker joke, the little jokes they print on the paper inside the Christmas crackers. Did you know there's only 12 jokes that have ever appeared inside a Christmas cracker?
Oh my gosh, I did not know that. I feel enlightened and delighted by that fact.
Exactly. And the thing is you never open enough Christmas crackers in a year to realise that, and then, there's a whole year you forget what jokes were in them.
Yeah, exactly. Boom.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with, like, the sweethearts that you're also an expert in. I heard that you actually wrote all of the little cute things they put on those little heart candies.
Yeah. Did you know that there is a 1 in 12,000 chance that you can just get a pack that's very mean? Like, occasionally we'll just put a pack out there that's like, you suck. You really don't know what you're doing. Go back to the drawing board.
Yeah. And that's good because sometimes you need that negative reinforcement.
Yeah.
To really succeed in life.
Sometimes you need to open a packet of sweets and go, you know what? Fuck you, packet of sweets. No, I can do better than that. You need that motivational push sometimes.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you're doing the public good here. So, look at that. You basically innovated the world's favorite candy. I don't know that that's true, but I don't have any facts
No,
here
it's
that
true
say
now.
it's not.
I'm an expert in it. It's the world's favorite candy.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
As a candy expert, I can tell you that you're accurate. I was testing you.
Yeah, well, you see, actually, I must correct myself, because to say that it's the world's most favourite candy is a misnomer. It's actually the second favourite candy, after one that, never got released, but everyone knows that they would secretly love if they tried. It's a well-known fact that, Purple Flurples, if you tried one, it would be your favourite.
I've tested the prototype, and I lost maybe my perception of what the color purple is.
Yeah,
but delicious.
Purple is now more of a taste than a flavour.
Yeah.
See, this is wonderful. This is exactly the advice I needed. Why become an actual expert in things when I can just lie and pretend that I'm an expert?
Exactly. It takes way less time.
Exactly.
And I heard people on YouTube do that all the time and pretend that they're very smart people with good points.
And they've become very successful doing that, so I think we've got a strategy here.
Exactly.
So for anyone who doesn't know your stuff, where can people find you and the things that you do, including Alexis Sarah will be on, LauraKBuzz will be on My Brother, and Me.
Well, you can find me at patreon.com/Alexis Sarah, where I put up everything I do. But you can go to @transcomics, where I tweet about social justice-y things. Or you can go to my actual podcast, soundcloud.com/transpodcast, I think.
Are you suggesting that Alexis Sarah will be on, LauraKBuzz will be on My Brother, and Me is not your real podcast?
I mean, no, it was the most successful podcast to ever come out, and way more successful than your podcast.
Oh God,
I might
yeah.
add. But yeah, it's soundcloud.com/trans podcast. So I am the definitive trans voice in podcast. So that's probably why I got so popular.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, and twitch.tv/girlfriend quest, where I play video games with my girlfriends. That's all the things I do on the internet. I write a lot. I write stories and stuff. I write comic books and all that.
Those are all very cool things, and hopefully one day my podcast will be as successful as yours.
Yeah, I hope so.
I can only dream.
Yeah, I believe in you.
With Alexis interviewed and a deadline set, a McElroy guest arranged for next week, and a solid plan in place, things were finally starting to look positive. While nothing had been confirmed yet, at this point, I was finally starting to believe that LauraKBuzz will be on My Brother, and Me before my first book releases.